Welcome back to Only Talk Sports, and today is week 0 in the college football season. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this. Now, this is the first week of the college football season, and there's already a big result. Nebraska lost 31-28 to Northwestern in Dublin, Ireland. Now, at first glance, it's like, why does that matter? Well, we said coming in, and everybody said coming in, that Scott Frost needed this game. They needed to beat Northwestern, for the security of his job, to build momentum for the program. They brought in Mark Whipple, offensive coordinator from Pittsburgh, that helped Kenny Pickett and Jordan Addison do what they did last year, going 11-2. They brought in all these transfers. Casey Thompson coming in from Texas. They brought in all those defenders. They brought in junior college running backs, junior college or FCS punter. They brought in all these players. And on paper, Nebraska is way better of a football team than Northwestern. Northwestern was not returning that much talent. They needed a lot of help. Northwestern, a lot of people predict Northwestern to be one of the worst teams in the Big Ten. I predicted Northwestern to lose every conference game. And I had Nebraska going over 500. Now, it's still possible, but Nebraska really just dropped the ball here. Nebraska lost 31-28. Now, Nebraska played well in the first half. They were throwing touchdowns. They were up 14 to 3 or whatever, and then Northwestern came back, took the lead at half, and then Nebraska came out to another fast start in the second half. They were up 28-17, and it looked like Nebraska had it, and then they go for an onside kick. Northwestern gets it. They score a touchdown. It gets 28-24. And then Northwestern scores another touchdown to take the lead. They're up 31-28. And then Nebraska can't score again. They get multiple chances. And then Northwestern gets the ball final time, runs the clock down. And then Nebraska gets the ball back. And then they throw off a drop pass and an interception. It went through his hands and it got picked. And that's all she wrote. Now, Nebraska, again, losing 31-28, you're like, it's not a big deal, but this is a common theme. Scott Frost has, in one-score games, gone 5-21 in his career at Nebraska. 5-21. He's lost all these games in a row, and at one point he was 5-11 in one-score games. He's lost 10 in a row one-score games. He had all those one-score games. Last year, they were 3-9 because they lost all these games by one score, and now you lose another one-score game to Northwestern, and a game you should have won if you had to just minimize the turnovers, if you hadn't thrown the 2 interceptions. Casey Thompson played really well. The last pick wasn't his fault, but you had the 2 picks, and then you have a fumble. It's like you get rid of those plays, and Nebraska wins this game. It's just been a common theme. Last year, Nebraska, on paper, was the better team. They were beating Michigan last year. They were beating Michigan, then they fumble it. Michigan scores, and they win. They were playing Ohio State. Ohio State was way better than them, and they hung with them the whole entire game. But then they also lost at the season opener last year to Illinois because of the fact they were turning it over the whole time. They had 4 turnovers, and the worst one was on a kick return, which they brought in a specialist coach for kicking and punting to improve on that, and they did improve in this game. But still, and then last year they had all those plays where the snaps were too high going over Adrian Martinez's head. Yeah, one play where it went over Casey Thompson's head, but he saved it and he got a completion out of it. But the thing about Nebraska is the fact that they have all these little mistakes. They make these small mistakes that a lot of other teams don't make, and that falls on the back of Scott Frost. He is their head coach. People are going to blame him. They're not going to blame the players. Even if it is the players' fault, they're still going to blame the coach, because the coach is the one getting this team prepared to win. And at Nebraska, every single game they've had, you could either say bad luck or it was just bad coaching. And sometimes it's bad coaching, some of it's been bad luck, but some of it's just bad coaching. Going for an onside kick when you're up 11 is bad coaching. You do not do that. If you're Scott Frost, who knows? We will never know now, but if you do not go for that onside kick, you probably win the game. You had all the momentum, and then once Northwestern started taking control of the game, Nebraska just falls apart. And that's been a common theme with Nebraska the whole time in Scott Frost's tenure. He's now 15-30 in 5 seasons, and now it's his 5th season at Nebraska. They don't want to fire him because he used to be their quarterback in the 90s under Tom Osborne. I understand. It's like Patrick Ewing in college basketball. You don't want to fire Patrick Ewing at Georgetown, but they went 0-20 in conference play last year. You don't want to fire him because he's a legend. And I understand why you don't want to fire Scott Frost, but if Nebraska is ever going to get back to brilliance and glory in college football. They're going to have to do better than this, and they can't keep turning the ball over and losing on stupid plays. And unfortunately, if that requires getting rid of Scott Frost, they're going to have to get rid of Scott Frost and get another coach. I don't want Scott Frost to go. I like Scott Frost. I hope it works out, but it's not working out. And it still might work out this season. I mean, their schedule's not super tough. Maybe they can rebound, and maybe they can still have a 7-5, 8-4 season. But if games like this continue to happen under the Scott Frost tenure, he will not be their head coach no longer. It doesn't matter if, again, he's a legend at the school. They're eventually going to have to say, hey, this isn't working out. You're going to have to go. And it's sad to see this should not be happening because Nebraska has a lot more talent than Northwestern and a lot of other teams that they've lost to in the past. They've had way more talent. They beat Northwestern 56-7 last year. And you can say, well, Northwestern's improved. Yeah, they had a good game. Ryan Helinski, they finally have settled at him at quarterback. He played really well. He threw for almost 300 yards, and the run game was doing really good. But Nebraska's the better football team, and they blew it again. Just like they blew it last year, just like they've blown it in years prior to that. It's just crazy. It's going to be a really good litmus test to see how good Adrian Martinez does at Kansas State, because if he does really good this year, you just know that Nebraska's just being run really poorly. And again, I'm not saying it's all on Scott Frost, and I hope it works out for him at Nebraska, but it's not looking good. His seat is hotter than ever. If I had a coach's hot seat list, which I might do one this week, he is going to be on top of the list, number one coach. He is burning right now. Scott Frost, you got to win. He's got to win this year. If not, unfortunately, he will no longer be the head coach at Nebraska Cornhuskers. I hope you liked this video. Comment down below what you think about Scott Frost and this game, and what you think is going to happen to him in the future, and what he needs to do to keep his job. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this, and I hope you have a good one.